Hey y'all, this is Dr. Martha Durham. I'm a psychologist here in Greenville, South Carolina, and this is the Why Did They Do That podcast. And I am honored to have Coach Greg Porter, the head football coach at Lawrence High School. And you've been there, I think, 3 years now. Is that right, Coach Porter?
It's going on 3. I just finished my second season.
Going on 3. And I know you because you were the head coach at Greenville High School where my son played. And I was your team mom for, 2 or 3 years, I think.
2 years.
2 years. And we had a great run with you. We had, how many years were we in the playoffs?
Out of the 5 years, we was there 4. COVID year, that was the only year we didn't make it, but we was tied, a 3-way tie.
Yes.
But we was unable to get that bid to go. But the last 3 years
and I
was
feel like
awesome.
that just wasn't fair.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like that COVID year, it was just the luck of it's like they tossed a coin to see who was going to get that bid, if I remember correctly.
Well, we didn't play very well against the Greenwood High School, and it came down to a point differentiation. And we gave up 7 points too much to get that bid, and it was ended up being a 3-way tie, and we was third, and it was only taking the top 2. So that's why we ended up missing the playoffs. But it was a 3-way tie for region champions.
So you were reminding me of why my son says, "Mom, you do not know football." I feel like I do, but I do, but you're right. It was not a coin toss.
Right.
That's right. So I'm really interested in you talking about how football has changed, because you were obviously a high school football player. You were a college football player. And if I remember, you tried out for a pro team. And
correct.
I don't know if you played on the pro team or not.
I didn't make it.
And then and then you have been a successful head football coach. You've won state championships, multiple conference championships, and been in the playoffs multiple times. What have you seen change in those years?
I think the biggest difference I've seen is the student athlete has changed drastically. Now a football player can, leave high school and make a whole lot of money in college if you qualify to play at a high level. That has been the biggest change. The thing that I see now, the parents have evolved as well, because parents know that their kid can put themselves in a good financial situation if pushed correctly. But with the NIL deal, that has become really a unique situation with a lot of programs. And it made it very difficult for the high school senior who's graduating from high school. You have to be elite now to get a scholarship. The competition is extremely difficult now for a young man to be average or subpar, talking about he wants to play college football. I think that doesn't even exist anymore. That kid really has to go to school for other reasons besides just be thinking about football.
Correct. I think Bruce was coming up right as all that was changing. And I remember you were really loyal to a team, okay? Like going through Little League football and even like the D team, whatever. But then suddenly it did become, people were really honed in on where can I go that's best for my son. And it wasn't I'm loyal to Greenville or Lawrence or Hillcrest or Malden. And I get it because so much is at stake. But it really is a change, and it feels like a change in loyalty, in fans, and in players.
Well, I think there's 2 perceptions about the whole idea. One, as a parent, I want to put my son in the best possibility to further his education, play the sport he loves, and financially, it's not a burden on the family. I tend to look at a school that seems to be putting kids in the school. What high school is working to try to market the players to get them in school that seemed to be a recruiting tool for the high school, but a parent will, look at that. Um, you can stay loyal to the high school, but I think there ought to be questions to hold the head coach accountable, even myself where I'm at now, like what plans or what are you doing exactly? What strategy do you have in place to try to help my son get in school, or just be honest, my can my son play college football? Is he academically prepared to go? I think there has to be that hard conversation of truth to say, hey, your son is a good athlete, but he's not college bound. That's difficult. So there's two sides to it. You, as a head coach, I've heard coaches say it's not my job to try to get kids into college. It's my job to make him the best high school football player he can become. Then on the other end, this high school kid done played for you for 4 years. You know he has a dream to play on the next level. I think you ought to at least try. I think it's a partnership. You, the parent, and the kid understands the challenge to try to play college football, but we all work together and hold each other accountable to help him meet his goal. And I guess to some, that philosophy is it's not what everybody believe in, but it has been what I believed in, and it has worked for me.
Listen, I loved the way you guys handled all of that. My son, I say this all the time, he wants to go to college to play football. Football's his love. He isn't playing football to go to college. We feel lucky that he's going to get an education that's paid for. I mean, that's priceless at a really good school. But you guys really paid attention to the academics. That was so important. You understood the recruiting process. You had coaches in and out of there. You understood that social media is a huge part of all that. And so I remember being at Greenville thinking, okay, these coaches get it. And it was, I think a really great system. And I'm sure you're doing that at Lawrence as well.
Well, at Lawrence, it is a little different here. And I have implemented a lot of the things that I did at Greenville. But Greenville was such a unique place because the guidance counselors, everybody, it was from the front office to the presentation when a coach come to the school, everything is a part of marketing for that kid. When you had a program like Lawrence right now, we have not won past 2 years. We're still building. So we don't have the traffic of college coaches coming through here like I did at Greenville or Hillcrest. It's something we have to build up. Have to overcome some bad traditions that have taken place, whether kids going to school not finishing or did not go because of whatever. But I know that I'm here now and I'm held accountable. So the first thing I want to attack here is let's get academics and attendance under control. You have to show up in order for us to go up. You have to get your academics. And it's very little about athletics. You got to keep focusing on academics. Going into my third year, and I love what I got coming up because they understand what's expected in the classroom and get their grades every Thursday, every week. And there's accountability that's going on in this process. I have them in my class, all of the kids in my class that play football, so they get the one-on-one conversations to um, to become better, which I didn't even have at Greenville. We didn't have all the football players in one class, but it seemed to work at that school because of the culture that was built there. And we still building a culture here, just helping kids understand that before you can think about football, you got to do academics and attendance.
Yes. I remember Bruce is a kid who had ADHD. And it was, with those kids, they didn't always have their grades on a Thursday, but they would pull them up later. But I love that you and Coach Lewis were like, too bad, so sad, you didn't get all A's. And, back then I was gnashing my teeth, but it makes sense. It keeps kids accountable. And it feels like you're doing really something great at Lawrence. I love, what did you say? You got to show up to go up. I love that.
Yes,
And I hope they're going to stick with that. Yeah, because your reputation with the college coaches is really strong. Like, I know they probably want to come out there and,
right,
recruit your kid, you know.
right.
What do you see as the future? What do you think is going to happen with NIL and all that, and how that's changing everything? Because yeah, there's some college kids who probably aren't going to go pro. You hear pro coaches saying, "I don't want a kid who made $1 million in college because he's not going to work hard here." Like, I've heard that kind of stuff. What do you think about all that?
Man, I think it's going to be a problem. I mean, you have college kids making more than the coach. What can you tell me?
Yep.
It changes the conversations with a coach where back in the day, you can hold it over the kid's head if he's not doing well in school or he's not playing well. You can say things to him to try to speak to the king and the young man to get him to get focused. But right now, if you say the wrong thing, the kid can say, "Hey, I'm transferring," or "You didn't keep your word," or
Right.
something. It changes. It's really become a business, and it has always been a business, but I think now it's even more of a business more than a relationship. Um, with kids
Hmm.
getting certain type of money, I think personally, just my opinion, I don't know, but I think there has to be some type of governing rule gonna have to be in place because I could see it also damaging the locker room. If you bring in a kid that get X amount of dollars more than anybody else and everybody looking at him like, why did he get that? And I've been here, been loyal, but
Hmm.
this kid just transferred in, haven't done the work. I can see how, as a college coach, it can be difficult. It can be difficult trying to get a team to focus on one common goal when, at the end of the day, kid may have an attitude like, as long as I get paid, I don't care you know. So I
Right.
think it's changing. I think the programs who have a plan in place are the ones who are excelling and moving forward with less drama. But a plan has to be
Mhm.
in place.
Yeah. From a psychology and a human nature perspective, I think what we're going to find out is, without loyalty, without that love of your teammates, this can't really succeed. And you are seeing a lot of schools finding that out. And I just feel like it's one more time we do a social experiment. And actually, this is a business experiment. Like, giving young men money is not smart. They're not mature. You need a little maturity. You need to be older to get all that money and not blow it and not get an attitude. And I think football is finding out that something has to change. It's just, it's not going to work this way.
Of course, I haven't talked to too many coaches. A few I have. First of all, got to be some finance education. There got to be some type of economical
Mm.
class teaching them about money. Um,
Yes.
that's going to be important. The second thing, you got to teach them about family, man. Everybody wants your money. So you're going to have to be wise. You see so many people
Yep.
spending money that's crazy, and you're trying to teach them to invest their money because football don't last forever. And
Thank
that's
you.
important. And so a kid who have his mind straight and got a game plan can really benefit from it. And there's a group
Yes.
that could be used and manipulated and lose it all and have nobody else to blame but themselves. But what a loss it would be. But I think the programs
Yes.
that have something in place, well, you get X amount of dollars because of your GPA. That's
Mm-hmm.
motivating. That's a plan.
100%.
Hey, you can get X amount. Now everybody has a shot at the money rather than just one person. Um,
Yes.
just having something in place to motivate the kids. If you graduate early with your degree, you get X amount of dollars. You know, um, something has to be in
So
place, and
smart.
because see, when the high school kid, now we have high school kids thinking everybody want to go to Clemson or South Carolina, and I'm thinking, first of all, you don't have the work ethic to go there. I've seen kids who have it. That's number one. Number two, the sacrifice you have to have in the classroom. You have to take academic rigor classes to show the college coach that you're different from all the other recruits. You can't take the same CP basic class that everybody else is taking. You lose value. So your academic value depends on your academic rigor, your attendance. Everything makes up who you are. And then you got to have the measurements to be able to play on the next level. Scholarships are not given. I can go and get somebody out of the portal with football experience, college credit, and have an understanding of the landscape of college than dealing with a high school kid that may not be able to handle this type of environment, the money. So yes, the high school senior,
Yep.
just the senior class just got smaller because I can go to the portal and get that same kid stronger, more experienced with academic grades. Yes, and you might be a really, really good football player, but unfortunately, the window is getting smaller. You have to become an elite athlete to get that now.
Is there anything else that you think is important about what's happening now before we wrap up?
Well, I tell you, the NIL is important. Um, the
Yeah.
I just think getting some type of governing system in place for the colleges and universities so it does not go out of hand. It's already getting there, but I think it still has room to get worse if something that's not done soon.
I agree. I think it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. But I love your ideas. I think your ideas are so smart. And if they would listen to that, I think one thing that you said and that I agree with, and I hope everyone understands, those kids who don't have scaffolding, don't have parents that are able to help them with these financial things, it'd be great if the schools could provide something like that so that they don't blow all that money. They can invest that money and have a future beyond football.
Correct. Or they would definitely be a target. And that would be a loss. That'd be a shame. So I
Oh,
agree
yeah.
with you. I totally agree with you. So, but
Thank you so much for talking to me this morning.
absolutely no problem. Thank you once again for allowing me to be on your podcast and wishing you the best this upcoming year with your show.
Thank you, Coach Porter, for talking to us about the history of football and your 27 years as a coach and longer as a player yourself. This is the Why Did They Do That podcast. If you liked what you heard, like, subscribe, and pass it on, y'all.